It's official. Lewis Hamilton's final year at Mercedes is being sabotaged. At the Monaco Grand Prix, the seven-time world champion made a shocking revelation. George Russell is the only one Mercedes gave an upgraded front wing to. This revelation comes hot on the heels of Hamilton's latest defeat in the intra-team qualifying duel. Despite a rocky start to the season, Mercedes has been showing some serious speed on the iconic Monte Carlo streets, with Hamilton consistently clocking top 3 times in practice. But the seven-time world champion had to settle for a 7th place start, with his lap time just 0.078 seconds shy of 5th-placed George Russell. The young Brit has been out-qualifying his legendary teammate in a staggering 7 out of the first 8 races of the 2024 season. The inter-team rivalry is alive and well, and it looks like the Silver Arrows have chosen Russell to have the last laugh. Hamilton, who has been steering clear of drastic changes to his car's setup in recent weeks, pointed to Russell's new front wing as the culprit behind his latest defeat. He claimed that he was automatically 0.2 slower than his teammate heading into qualifying. When asked by Sky F1 if he was disappointed with his position on the grid, Hamilton didn't hold back. He said, for sure. It was looking great yesterday. We've really been working hard to improve this car, and from the get-go it felt great, and we were obviously competitive yesterday and this morning. We're not making any drastic changes or anything like that. The team have worked really hard back at the factory to bring an upgrade in the last 2 races and also an update this weekend, but we only have one, which George has. So I anticipated it would be difficult to out-qualify George because he has the upgraded component, but it's just great to see that we are bringing upgrades. But once we get to qualifying, I don't understand. I already know automatically that I'm going to lose 0.2 going into qualifying. That's definitely frustrating and something that I don't really have an answer for at the moment. I'm not driving any differently. The laps were really great. I'm just lacking something. Despite a tough start to the season, Hamilton has found a silver lining in Mercedes' progress. But he noted that Russell's 0.3 gap to Charles Leclerc's leading Ferrari could become even more pronounced on more conventional circuits. Hamilton admitted it's unlikely he'll challenge Russell in qualifying for the rest of the 2024 season. With Hamilton set to move to Ferrari in 2025, there's speculation on whether Russell now has upgrade priority at Mercedes. When asked if Monaco could be a turning point for Mercedes' season, Hamilton shared his thoughts, saying, "From the team's perspective, yes. I definitely think we, for some reason, are a lot closer this weekend. It's really great to see. The car was feeling great, so much better than previous years, but still, 3.5 tenths is a lot here. And that's still 6 tenths elsewhere, so we still are off pace-wise. We've just got to keep pushing. We will slowly get closer through the year as more upgrades come. I don't anticipate being ahead of George in qualifying, particularly this year, but we've just got to keep pushing, and the races are strong." When asked why he's unlikely to challenge Russell in qualifying for the rest of the season, Hamilton smiled and with a cryptic undertone said, "We'll see." During the weekend, Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff owned up to a messaging blunder, saying they got one thing completely wrong: Lewis Hamilton's pit stop strategy during the Monaco Grand Prix. The team was aiming for an undercut against Max Verstappen, but ended up missing the mark. It's a rare admission from the Mercedes camp, especially in light of their recent bias shift to George Russell. The Monaco Grand Prix saw Max Verstappen secure 6th place, just ahead of Hamilton in 7th, in a race where tyre management was crucial. Despite the top 10 on the grid maintaining their positions, the battle unfolded with both drivers trying to make the most of their medium tyres switched during a red flag on lap 1. Mercedes made the first move by pitting 7-time world champion Hamilton on lap 51. But in a crucial moment during the Monaco Grand Prix, Hamilton was not given the crucial message about the importance of his outlap after his pit stop. This oversight saw him rejoin the track behind Verstappen when Red Bull made their pit stop a lap later. A frustrated Hamilton questioned the team, asking, "Why didn't you tell me outlap was critical?" When asked by sister title GP Racing to explain what happened after the race, Wolff was ready to shed some light on the situation. He said, "That was a miscommunication first between us on the pit wall that we got that wrong. It should have been an outlap critical trying to undercut. But then there was a debate whether any outlap would be enough from the new tyre. And so the message he got was at best confusing, but probably wrong. It should have been an outlap critical. And the worry in the background was that if we thrashed that tyre in a single lap, then what would happen later? But in summary, wrong message to Lewis. This was the team's fault." When pressed to explain why Hamilton waited so long before pitting, especially since he had built a comfortable gap ahead of Yuki Tsunoda's Red Bull, Wolff later elaborated. "We wanted to be close to Verstappen and then do the undercut, which obviously we got the messaging completely wrong. George Russell made a strategic decision not to pit and opted to finish the race on the medium tyres he had switched to during the red flag period, caused by Sergio Perez's incident with Kevin Magnussen. Despite pressure from Verstappen, Russell held his ground and secured a commendable fifth-place finish. Wolff admitted that, the moment the crash happened, it was clear that we were really on the back foot, and believes there was little Mercedes could have done to alter the trajectory of its race. Fundamentally, I don't think there is a lot you can change in Monaco. You pretty much end where you start." On the other side of the paddock, Red Bull team principal Christian Horner didn't hold back in criticising Mercedes' strategy at the F1 Monaco Grand Prix, labelling it as defeatist. With the early red flag allowing tyre changes and eliminating mandatory pit stops, teams had the option to run until the race's conclusion. Horner's remarks added a spicy twist to the post-race analysis. The majority of the field, including Mercedes' George Russell, opted not to pit during the red flag period. Russell's decision paid off as he finished fifth, edging out Red Bull's Max Verstappen, who was among the few who did pit. Russell received instructions to manage his pace initially and then push later in the race, a strategy that allowed him to maintain his position ahead of Verstappen post-pit stop. In response to Toto Wolff declaring the title race over after the fourth race in Japan, where Verstappen now leads with a 31-point advantage, there's speculation about whether Wolff was premature in his assessment. Asked if Verstappen can still be challenged and if Wolff's statement was premature, Horner had this to say, throwing a verbal dagger Toto's way. "Yeah, I think so. Perhaps not with Mercedes, but I think with Ferrari and McLaren certainly look competitive. They cannot be discounted. It's a long, long championship, and obviously they've taken a reasonable chunk of points today." I didn't really understand Mercedes' race today. It was a hugely conservative race by George. To give up so much time and then go so fast at the end of the race, it didn't really make a lot of sense. But I don't think it would have changed. They weren't going to overtake anybody. It was just a very defeatist race to try and defend fifth. While talking about his race, George Russell seemed to deny Horner's defeatist allegations. He said, "It was a long, old race, a strange race. The first 30 laps we were tootling around. When Max pitted, I put my foot down, and it was only afterwards I realised how much we closed the gap on the Ferrari and McLarens. I was really pleased about that. Max put me under a bit of pressure, but it was pretty under control. When the red flag came out, it was frustrating for everybody. The only hope of a good race in Monaco was a bit of spiciness with strategy, but then strategy was out of the window. We got the maximum we could. What do you think? Is Mercedes intentionally setting Lewis Hamilton up for failure in his last year with them? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell for the hottest F1 news.